Hello YouTube, welcome to my playthrough of Broken Sword, Shadow of the Templar. That's it, let's get to it. Okay, so the first thing we're actually going to do is actually talk to this lady, because we can't actually enter in the door until we've spoken to her.
Oh, hi.
Bonjour, monsieur. Would you like me to foretell your future?
No thanks.
I'm very good. It only takes a minute.
Thanks all the same, but I'm not superstitious. Besides, if it only takes a minute, that's not much of a future to look forward to.
This guy. Let's talk about...
I've changed my mind.
Fortune.
Will you tell my fortune?
Why not?
You're going on a long journey.
My, oh my. What a surprise. Can you tell me anything I don't already know? How does this fortune-telling routine work?
If I knew that, I wouldn't be selling flowers for a living.
Haven't you ever wondered why you were blessed with the gift?
Well, it's a bit like satellite television, I suppose. Some of us are born with a built-in receiver dish. I just happen to be one of the lucky ones.
Can you really foretell the future?
Only time will tell, monsieur. The strange thing is, I can't seem to see myself in the future. Other people, I have no problem. But when I try to see what might happen to me, nothing.
That must be scary.
Maybe. I figure it's a kind of natural safety mechanism. Either that, or I don't have a future.
Kind of sad.
Do you know a young woman called Nicole Collard?
Yes, I do. She lives upstairs from me in the apartment block across the street. The door isn't locked, but you'll need to give it a gentle nudge. It sticks, you see, because of the dam.
This
The
lady
landlord
will
said
let
he'd
anybody
fix it
in.
before winter sets in. He's been saying that for 3 years.
How long has Mademoiselle Collard lived here?
A few months. She's in for a shock when the cold weather comes. Drafty windows, insufficient heating. It's a struggle to keep warm. The only reason I stay is because the rent is cheap. Your young lady, she deserves better.
I thought Mademoiselle Collard was a successful photographer.
Not as successful as she makes out for all her fine clothes. Oh, I've heard her crying herself to sleep at night.
That's awful.
Now don't
Just
you
how
let on
strange
that
is
I
that?
told you. She's proud, that one. Too proud, if you ask me.
Bring her down a notch.
Have you seen anyone out here watching Mademoiselle Collard's apartment?
Yes, I have. A strange man. Tall and thin as a broomstick. He kept his face hidden, but I saw his eyes peering from evil little slits.
How was he dressed?
A long brown raincoat with an hat.
Or like Humphrey Bogart?
Yes, but he didn't have Bogart's charisma. Besides, this guy looked like he needed a toilet. You never saw Bogart clenching his buttocks like that.
Jesus.
Is there anything else you can tell me about Mademoiselle Collard?
No, monsieur.
Alright, what about some flowers then?
Are the flowers for sale?
Oui, monsieur.
Okay. I'll take a bunch of those white ones.
I wouldn't do that if I was you.
No?
They are lilies, monsieur. Some people associate them with death.
Yikes. Thanks for telling me. What other flowers do you have?
Dahlias?
What do they signify?
Insecurity?
I don't want to give her the wrong idea about me. What about the tall yellow ones?
Those are iris, the flame of passion.
And the little yellow ones?
Sensuality.
Well, they're no use to me. I want to make an impression, not jump down her throat.
Alright, that's about it. Now
See
we
you later.
know the way
That's
into
right,
Nico's
monsieur.
apartment. We'll go ahead and go into Nico's apartment now.
Remembering the flower seller's advice, I pushed the door gently just above the lock.
Hi.
Bonjour. I'm
So-
glad you could make it, monsieur.
Please, call me George.
Fine. I'm Nicole. Take a seat, George. Eh bien? And what have you been up to?
I've been exploring the sewers underneath the cafe.
I thought I could smell something bad.
The clown used the
Shit.
sewer to escape and to change out of his costume. I guess he was in a hurry. He left his jacket behind.
And?
I got his tailor's phone number.
You had better luck than I did.
Luck, she said. Luck. Hard work, I'd call it. What happened?
My editor told me to drop the story. Can you believe it?
But you're not gonna do that.
Oh no. I'm going to find out what's behind these killings.
It just doesn't add up. It almost feels like some sort of conspiracy.
The police in 3 different countries have kept very quiet about the murders.
The press don't connect them at all.
They blame them on political, religious, or militant minority extremists.
Well, that covers just about everyone.
Alright, now we can start asking her about a little bit more stuff, which is going to, again, progress the story a little bit further and find out what we need to do next, basically.
Tell me more about yourself.
There's nothing much to tell.
Well, how'd you get into photography?
I guess I owe that to my father. He bought me my first camera. I was 8, and my parents had just split up.
Did you live with your father?
Yes. My mother went off with her new boyfriend. I didn't mind. Papa was all I needed. 4 years later, he died in a plane crash.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's all right. I don't mind talking about him. He was more like an older brother, really. Always joking and laughing. Papa always wanted me to study art. That's why I went to college.
Did you learn about photography at college?
God, no. I couldn't afford the materials. We were billed for everything we used. Paint, canvas, paper. Most of my year turned to minimalism. It was cheaper. I used to go poaching in the park for squirrel hair. The only time I wasn't hungry was the term I did printing. I used to eat the potatoes.
You're making fun of me, aren't you?
Jeez.
Oh, no.
Tell me more about the clown's previous victims.
The first was Arno Bellotta, the millionaire pharmaceutical baron. He made his money from amphetamines in the post-war slimming and diet boom. Imagine it, millions of housewives literally speeding their butts off. The only witness in the case was his Filipino au pair. She swears he was lured to his death by a snowman.
What about the clown's second victim?
Yamada, the controversial Japanese politician. He inherited his fortune from his father's electrochemical consortium.
How did he die?
At the hands, or should I say flippers, of a giant emperor penguin.
A snowman, a penguin, and now a clown.
I had been about to add mime to the list, but stopped myself. I really didn't want to have to explain to George about my father's involvement with Cauchon.
You know, I hate to admit it, but this is scary. And I'll tell you this, I will not be accepting any invitations to costume parties.
I don't blame you for being scared. I am too. But this story could be my only chance for a big break.
Or an early death.
Okay, let's
I
show
found
us
a
some of
piece
the items that we've
material
got.
near the cafe.
When I showed it to the concierge, he recognized it right away.
It's very distinctive, all right.
Just wait until you see this.
I developed the film I shot at the cafe. Here, Georges. It's an enlargement I made. Look what that guy's wearing.
Checkered pants. The same material as I found in the sewer.
That's right. This guy shouldn't be difficult to find.
Oh no?
Take a close look at his eye cheek.
A scar in the shape of a horseshoe.
Or a crescent moon.
How come you enlarged this photograph of me?
Because I noticed the guy behind you, of course.
Okay, so now we can back out of this conversation, I believe.
I have to go.
Okay, I'll see you later.
And we'll go back. Usually you'd be able to stay in the apartment and use the telephone there. But the next thing we're actually going to do is go and use the telephone by the hole because it's still there apparently. So we'll do that.
Hello? Who is this? Mr. Todrick? Oh, it's you again. What now?
Did you make a suit for a man with a scar on his face? A scar in the shape of a crescent moon?
Maybe. Maybe not.
Tell me where I can find him and I'll leave you alone.
And if I don't,
I won't leave you alone.
I can't tell you anything unless you give me his name.
Thanks for nothing, Todrick.
So now we know that we need to find the guy's name. What can we do next? If I can remember. Obviously, I need to remember first. we'll pop over to the police station and we'll see what they have to say. See if we can get any more leads.
Excuse me.
Not so fast. I'd like your personal details, please.
Huh? What for?
In the event of an accident, it would help us to know where to send the body.
Look, is this really necessary? I came in here to talk to Rosso.
Why did you not say? He's not here.
But
Do you wish to leave a message for him? I have a choice of blue or black pen. I'd recommend the blue for a less formal communication.
I'd prefer to talk to him in person.
As you wish, monsieur.
Is Sergeant Moo available?
What? You want to speak to him?
Yes, please.
I cannot recall the last time someone asked to speak to Moo. No one ever speaks to him. Not even his kids. Ah bien. He's not here, monsieur. He is with Inspector Rosso.
No, it was a PS1 game.
No, monsieur.
Hardy.
This game was released in '96.
Oliver Norville Hardy. Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
No, monsieur, I do not. I have no memory for faces.
I found this tissue.
What the hell is that?
It's evidence.
Evidence of what? Mayonnaise smuggling?
The sticky stuff is grease paint.
Ah. And that is supposed to make me happy, is it? I suggest you think long and hard about what you are doing with your life, monsieur.
Thanks for your help, officer.
Okay, so now we'll go back out because now we know it's grease paint. We will head over to back to Nico's apartment, and we should be able to show some of these items.
Hi.
And
Oh, hello.
they'll give us a new location, I think, if I remember correctly. It's only been like 10 days since I last played this game.
I found this false nose in the sewer.
Hey, what's this inside it?
The contents of someone's nose?
Don't be cross, George. It says La Risée du Monde. Masks and costumes. It's a costume shop near the Gare Saint-Lazare.
I'll check it out. Maybe the owner remembers who hired the clown costume.
Yeah, so now we have a new location to go to.
I found this tissue down the sewer.
That's disgusting, George.
No. I think the stuff on it is grease paint, like actors use, or clowns.
It's still disgusting.
Yeah,
Get rid
there
of
is a
it.
series of games. They released the first one and the second one on the PlayStation 1. Then I believe there was the third one on PlayStation 2. That came out. That came out 6 years after the second one. And then they released two more, on the PC. The fifth one I've actually just learned about. I didn't even know that was a thing. So if you have Steam and you go on your Steam account, they actually have the anniversary edition. So that includes the director's cut of number 1. It's the extra scenes that tell Nico's narrative. 2, 3, 4, and 5. And I think it was only like $25, $30. So all 5 of the Broken Sword story games. Yeah, it's actually not a bad price. So it's good. I like it. Like 1 and 2, obviously nostalgic for me. 3 was a new gameplay. My nana played 3. I never got the chance. I only watched her play it. And then 4 and 5 I have never played.
I have to go.
Okay,
I knew about 4.
I'll see you
I didn't
later.
know about 5, but I never played 4. Okay, so we'll head over to the costume shop now. La Risée du Monde. And we'll talk to this weird looking guy.
Excuse me.
Bonjour, monsieur. Please, come in. Welcome. Leave the mundane world behind. For in these 4 walls, fantasy is king.
I don't want a costume.
Didn't you ever dress up when you were a child?
Not that I remember.
Incredible. You'll be telling me next that you never shared your elder sister's lingerie.
I don't have a sister, and I think I'd look pretty silly in a brassiere. I just need some information.
Of course. How can I help you?
Okay, let's ask about the old man.
Have you heard of a man named Plantile?
I do not recall anyone of that name.
I'm looking for a man who hired a clown costume from you.
Oui, monsieur. I do not see how I can help.
Don't you keep a record of costumes that you've rented out?
Of course, monsieur.
Not publicly,
but,
I haven't.
Well, then I'd like to check your records. Give me the names of everyone who's rented a clown suit.
Impossible. There are too many.
That's a trade secret. You can't. So, my nana was the person who got me into these kind of games. My parents got me a Sega. That's my first console, I believe, even though we had something called an Amiga, which played floppy disks. Not that anyone over the age of 8 years old is going to know what that is. Yeah, so I had an Amiga, played some Street Fighter on that. Probably broke most of what he had on there. I can't remember playing anything else apart from Street Fighter on it. So they got me a Sega, and it was all Sonic the Hedgehog, which I could never do. I always got stuck on the hang glider level. I had loads of games, gave them all away because that's what kids do. They're like, oh my god, check this out, and then forget about it. But every summer I used to go to my father's house to spend the summer with them, and she was very big into puzzle games, and this was one of them. And even though I could only do like click on everything but never know what anything was for because logic dictated I didn't know anything, I would be playing the game all day, or most of the time anyway, and my nana would be in the kitchen cooking or fussing over something, and every 5 minutes, Nana, how do I do this? Nana, how do I do that? It probably went on for, I don't know, till I was 15. So yeah, so from the age of like 7 till 15. Yeah, cheap provider. She had a collection of PlayStation magazines like that. And then in the corner of the cabinet, about this much, about 6 cheap books. So if I needed a cheap book for a game I was playing, yeah, that's what I would do.
Do you recognize this man?
Oui, monsieur. I sold him some grease.
Trade secret, and you ruined it.
Do you want this red nose back?
Not after it's been worn, thank you.
Does this dirty tissue mean anything to you?
Let me smell that.
I don't think she ever got rid of one magazine that she bought.
Best
I remember opening up that
#7,
bloody cabinet and
white
everything
pancake.
falling out of it.
Theatrical grease.
It's
paint,
crazy.
right?
Oui, monsieur. La crème de la crème of Thespian accoutrement.
Have you sold any of it recently?
Yes, 2 cans.
Do you recognize this man?
Ah oui, he was here this morning. That is the man to whom I sold the grease paint. I remember the scar on his face. He chose 2 costumes. Bozo the clown and Seamus the pixie.
A pixie?
Very smart. Green silk with a taffeta lining. He gave me his name as Monsieur Khan.
There we go, and now we have his name.
Thanks for your help, buddy.
My pleasure, monsieur. Allow me to shake you by the hand.
Huh? Well, okay. What are you trying to do, kill me?
You did not find it amusing?
I never saw the funny side of electroshock therapy.
Eh bien, it is yours to keep. A gift?
Do I need a license?
No, but I give you a word of warning, monsieur.
What?
Remember to switch it off before you visit the toilet.
That's a good tip. Jenna Flynn, if you're watching, I know you were looking for some good tips, some good advice. If you got a hand buzzer, turn it off before you go to the toilet. Okay, so now we will go back to the cafe, use the phone, call Todrick, because he was looking for the name. Now we have a name.
Hello? Who is this? Mr. Todrick? Oh, it's you again. What now? The man I'm looking for is called Khan. He bought a suit from you, remember?
Mr. Khan. Yes, I remember him. Yes, I delivered the suit to his hotel. The Hotel Ubu. I don't remember the room number. It was upstairs. The second room on the right-hand side of the corridor.
Thanks, Todrick. That's all I wanted to know. Now I've got you, Mr. Clown.
Okay, so now we have another location. And we're heading on over. We'll pop straight in to the hotel. And we'll talk to this fella. So you might be able to recognize this guy.
Excuse me, didn't I see your picture in the news? You're that Nobel Prize winner from some unpronounceable Eastern European state.
Yes, that is me, in person.
I don't want to worry you, but have you had any threats on your life? You know, mysterious phone calls, letters made up of headlines cut from the newspaper.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Do you know a guy called Plantow?
I don't know anybody in Paris.
Oh, well, this guy's dead anyhow.
Why do you ask me about dead men? I have seen enough of death to last me a lifetime.
I'm, sure you have. Have you seen a clown?
I beg your pardon?
The clown. A guy in funny pants. Have you seen him?
My pants are from England, Marks and Spencer. They are a pleasure and a comfort to wear, with much support.
I'm real glad to hear that. You know, it's good to know you Nobel Prize winners are human too.
In my country, the people make do with string and egg cartoons.
For pants?
For everything. Oppression is the mother of ingenuity.
Do you recognize this man? He calls himself Khan.
Yes, I know this man. Why do you carry his photograph?
I'm a private detective. What's your interest in Khan?
He is an enemy of my people.
You know he's a killer.
Of course, amongst other things.
Would you help me investigate Khan?
That is not possible. My instructions are to observe. I cannot jeopardize my position as an honored guest of this country's government.
And that's all we're going to ask this guy. We're
Thanks
actually
for your
going to go
help.
back outside.
Goodbye.
We're going to go talk to those two fellas that are outside. Just so we don't have to do it again. And another reason. There is another reason.
Just a minute, monsieur.
What's your problem?
No problem, if you cooperate.
What do you want?
Just a routine security check. Nothing to worry yourself about.
Oh, well, all right.
Search him, Flap.
You bet.
Hey, knock it off. Get off, you big ape.
Nothing, Guido. Zilch.
Our apologies, monsieur.
What? I had to report you to the authorities.
Round here, we are the authorities.
You want I should break his arms?
No. Let him go, Flap.
We'll talk to these two fellas to find out why they're doing this stuff.
Get lost, creep.
Oh, yeah? And what if I don't? What if I call the cops?
First, I break your arms at the elbows and wrists. Then, when you recover consciousness, I break your fingers.
There's just one flaw in your plans, Ape-Man.
What's that?
It's broad daylight. I don't think even you would assault me on a busy street. Of course, this tranquil square at the end of a cul-de-sac. This
isolated corner of Paris that hasn't seen a street sweeper's brush since VE Day. This would be just about perfect for a mugging. Pardon me, I'm about to get very lost.
Okay, let's talk to the other skinny fella.
Hey, Shorty, I didn't think much of your trick, little man. I don't know what you're looking for, but you picked on the wrong guy. Maybe you'll spread the word around the sewers. George Stobart is on the case. That's Stobart. 2 B's and 2 T's. It sounded impressive to me, but the weasel didn't seem to share my enthusiasm. Still, I figured he'd think twice before gunning me down in the street in cold blood.
I do not like your tone.
Oh yeah? And what are you gonna do about it?
If you do not go away, I will gun you down in cold blood, right here in the street, without thinking twice about it.
Read his mind. Okay, so now we've done that. We'll go back inside. And we'll just go up to the 2nd floor. And see if we can just go into the room. 2nd door on the left.
If the tailor's description was correct, this was the killer's room. The sign on the door read 22. The door was locked.
Okay, can we get into this door then?
The door was locked.
Okay, so there's 2 locked doors. Let's go talk to this fella.
I want some information.
Who are you? The police?
I'm conducting a private investigation.
Ah, I know only too well what you mean. That is one of the drawbacks of the catering business. When people book into an hotel, they leave their morals at home, no?
I've just been manhandled by a gorilla.
Yes? I do not see any signs of a gorilla.
No, not a real gorilla. It was a guy who looked like a gorilla. It happened right out front of this building.
Let me get this quite clear. Are you complaining or bragging?
I want to know what you're going to do about it. The scrawny one has a gun.
I suggest you contact the police.
Can't you do anything about them?
What goes on in the streets of Paris is hardly my responsibility.
Alright, let's go through the
Do you have a guest by the name of
conversation.
No, monsieur. Perhaps you would care to check the register.
The man who calls himself Khan has a scar on his right cheek.
Vraiment? I tell you, I do not know a man named Khan.
Maybe not, but I noticed a change in his expression when I mentioned the scar. I'm looking for a man who dresses like a clown.
This is a highly respectable hotel, monsieur. There are no clowns here.
If you say so. Do you know a man named Plantar?
No, monsieur.
Aren't you concerned that your guests are being intimidated by gangsters?
No one else has complained, monsieur. Did they steal anything from you?
Well, no. They didn't find what they were looking for.
What was that?
I don't know. I don't think they did either. Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
Yes, monsieur. That man is one of our guests.
So we're on
What
the right
name?
path.
I cannot tell you that.
See if we can go pick up the key.
Excusez-moi, monsieur.
What?
You were trying to steal that key, no?
No way.
Okay. So let's go talk to this lady over here. Now, I gotta warn you, this lady personified a relationship of someone you just met, especially on the eccentricity side. Coming back to my grandmother again, her favourite character of all time, and this became a little bit of a meme between me and her, and you'll find out shortly which one it is.
Hi there, ma'am.
Well, hello. What can I do for you?
I'm looking for a man.
You disappoint me, my dear. For one foolish moment I thought, but never mind. Aren't you going to tell me your name?
George Stobart, ma'am.
How sweet! I once had a stable boy called George. I am Lady Piermont. The common reaction is to kneel and stutter, but it's not obligatory.
A real lady? I mean, you're an honest-to-God aristocrat?
Oh, I don't know about that. Few of my ancestors are honest, not even to God. I can trace my family back to the Normans, but don't let that intimidate you, George. Beneath that impressive pedigree, I'm just flesh and blood. The blood may be blue, but the flesh is the plump beef of old England, so to speak. You appear distracted, George. Is there any way I can help you?
I gotta back out of this conversation just to hear this phrase.
Hi, ma'am.
Hello, George. What can I do for you now?
Hello, George. What can I do for you now? That's the meme, by the way. Hello, George.
Did you know there's a gangster out front?
So funny.
What makes you think he's a gangster?
The Italian suit and the bulge in his pocket?
I know plenty of men with Italian suits and bulges in their pockets. That doesn't necessarily make them gangsters.
That gangster I told you about? He went through my pockets just now.
Good heavens! One never knows what to expect in foreign parts. Thank you for the warning, young man. I shall hide my credit cards in my underwear.
I'm looking for a murderer.
Good heavens! You're a private detective.
That's correct, ma'am.
What's the term you Americans use? It's on the tip of my tongue.
I believe what you're thinking of is Dick.
Precisely.
Have you come across a man who calls himself Khan?
I am familiar with only one person named Khan.
Genghis Khan, the legendary Mongol barbarian chieftain?
No, darling. Kevin.
Kevin Khan? I never heard of him.
I'd be most surprised if you had, darling. He's a pharmacist in Hemel Hempstead. Organizes fundraising for the Rotarians. Lovely man.
Does he have a scar on his cheek?
I really wouldn't know, sweetie.
Are you here in Paris on vacation?
No, darling. I'm on holiday. I needed to get away after Algy's funeral.
I didn't realize you were mourning the loss of a loved one.
I'm not. He was my husband.
Savage.
I'm sorry to hear about your husband's death.
You wouldn't be if you knew him, my dear. It gave me the opportunity to take a well-deserved holiday. Daphne suggested a change of scenery. Paris, she said. A wild romance is just what you need to take your mind off the inquest. Well, the closest I came to romance was being wooed by a drunken Breton chef. I must say I was disappointed with his coq au vin. Not at all what I was expecting. I was thinking of cutting my holiday short, packing my bags and heading back to Hemel Hempstead. That was until last night.
What happened to you last night?
I was stricken, Mr. Stobart. Cupid's arrow has cleft my bosom.
They couldn't really miss.
It was just as I'd always imagined it should be. The intimacy of candlelight, romantic music tinkling across the room, and then a stranger's glance. Those brooding eyes, that suave manner, those tight trousers. He was the man I'd been waiting for all my life.
I'm glad he finally turned up after all these years.
Ah, but it wasn't to be. He was merely toying with my affections. And if I ever catch up with him, he's dead.
Who?
Who was the guy who led you on?
His name is Merlin.
This
Do you recognize
Merlin?
the man in this photograph?
My God, it's him! That's Merlin!
She represented everything I loved about the English. The lady was totally deranged. Merlin? You mean King Arthur's wizard?
Good heavens, no! Monsieur Merlin is a fellow guest. He's the man I've been telling you about. That's the man who spurned me.
The man you know as Merlin is a fake.
What do you mean, sweetie?
He's a murderer. He also uses the name Khan.
I am shocked, Mr. Stobart. Shaken. I took him to be a gentleman, a man of honor. Do you know, I'd rather like to assist you in stitching him up.
When did you last see Merlin?
I have an
It
accomplice.
was no more than an hour ago. He came downstairs and spoke to that clerk chappie. Something passed hands. I couldn't see what exactly.
A briefcase?
No, smaller than that. A bundle of papers, perhaps. The clerk put it in the hotel safe and Merlin went out.
Are you sure you saw Merlin putting documents in the safe?
Yes, darling, positive.
I wonder what they were.
Obviously something of great importance.
Yeah. I'd sure like to get my hands on whatever it is. I'll bet they had something to do with Plantar's briefcase. Has Merlin returned to the hotel?
No, he hasn't. Are you going to search his room?
If I could get in there, I would.
Okay. One of the funniest characters, Lady Paramount. I gotta say, she's absolutely hilarious. Oh, hello, George. How can I help you now?
What now, monsieur?
Okay, so now we have some options to ask the clerk that we didn't have before. So we'll go ahead and feed ourselves through that.
I'd like to retrieve something from your safe.
Ah, oui, monsieur. May I see some form of identification?
Like what?
A driving license, perhaps?
I don't drive.
Your passport?
I don't have it with me. I could show you my operation scar.
I'm sorry, monsieur. I must have some form of unique ID.
You won't find a more unique ID than my scar.
I'm sorry. I must insist on a more traditional identification.
Rats. About the key hanging on the hook over there.
Oui, monsieur.
Which room is it for?
Number 21.
Is that room taken?
No. The guests checked out this morning.
I'd like to check into room 21.
That is not possible.
How come? You said it was vacant.
It is reserved for another guest.
Rats.
No, monsieur. Dutch.
I believe Khan, the man with the scar, is also known as Merlin, the man who has taken room 22.
What of it? What do you want?
Access to his room.
Do you have a license, monsieur?
Huh?
A private investigator's license?
Well, not exactly, but I can explain everything.
I am sorry, but without credentials, I cannot help.
I insist you give me the key to Merlin's room.
I cannot do that, monsieur.
This guy Merlin is a menace.
So you say, monsieur.
He's not only a danger to society, but to your guests as well. He has toyed with the affections of Lady Piermont.
Ciel! Are there no depths to which he will not sink?
Precisely. He's already killed once, twice, maybe as many as 3 times. With your help, I just might be able to stop him.
But what if he finds out I have helped you? No, I cannot do it.
Okay, so he's not giving up nothing. Absolutely nothing. But we've already got an accomplice. So let's talk to our accomplice to see if she can do anything to help us out. Now this is, again, every interaction with this lady is hilarious. I'm very sad she played such a small part. Just watch this.
Hi, ma'am.
Hello, George. What can I do for you now?
Would you distract the clerk while I borrow a key?
Are you asking me to aid you in a criminal act, darling?
Oh no, it's the key to an empty room.
And why, may I ask, do you wish to gain access to an empty room? Do you plan to squat?
No, ma'am.
Scouts honor?
I was never in the Boy Scouts, ma'am.
Oh, you should have been. What were your parents thinking of? It's a fine way for a boy to get licked into shape. Now tell me, why do you want to get into that room?
It's next to the room the killer is using.
Ah, so you plan to eavesdrop on Merlin?
I was hoping there might be a connecting door.
Well, how can I refuse? I shouldn't think my feminine charms would be much use in this case, but a good dose of English arrogance might do the trick. I say, you there, flunky?
Oui, Oui, madame.
Listen carefully. You do understand English, don't you?
But of course, madame.
Good. I wish to deposit some jewelry for safekeeping.
I understand.
Are you quite certain?
Oh, bien sûr, madame.
Over to you, my dear.
Thank you, Lady Piermont. Alright, so now we have the key for room 21. So now we'll go up and check out that room.
The door was locked.
But I have a key.
Maybe it wasn't the right room, but this was the right key.
Alright, so this is not the room we want to be in. So there's no point checking out this room. But we want to find out a connecting door. But we have a window instead. Now that's pretty high up, huh? Luckily his window's open. There we go. So we can check everywhere. It's not going to do
The assassin
anything.
had been too smart to leave incriminating evidence beside his bed. The bed was freshly made, and the crisp white sheets told me nothing about the killer's habits. It was the battered leather briefcase I'd seen Plantar carrying just before he died. I searched the interior of the briefcase, but as I'd half expected, it was empty.
Check the closet. Didn't mean to do that. Well, I guess it's just an open and close issue. Let's try exit.
It was Khan. I had the kind of feeling in my stomach that would usually send me running to the bathroom.
So you hide in the closet. Uh-oh.
As Khan opened the wardrobe, I was sure I was dead. But he grabbed his pants quickly and didn't even see me. I didn't usually spy on men getting changed. But this guy was a killer, and I didn't want any surprises. He left his checkered pants on the bed.
Got away with that one, huh? Whew. Okay, let's check out his pants. Or his trousers. Or whatever you want to call them.
I had that kind of feeling you only get from searching still warm pants. The pocket was empty.
Absolutely filthy, mind.
I flipped the pants over. I found an ordinary matchbook. No matches, no clues. But as I pulled it from the pocket, a strong thread came with it. A thread with a metal tag on the end. I pulled on the metal tag and the thread came out of the pants. It was like pulling out a ripcord. I found nothing in the pocket. I turned the pants over again. I searched the pocket gingerly and found a pass card. It read, Thomas Merlin, Gruber Electronics Corporation. There was nothing in the pocket.
Is that all I needed? I believe it is. Okay, so we can go on and exit this room. And we can go down the hall. So we're gonna talk to Flunky over here.
What now, monsieur?
And we are going to...
Does this pass mean anything to you?
That is Monsieur Merlin's property.
That's right. Merlin the murderer. I want to see what he's left in your safe.
Impossible. I cannot betray his confidence, no matter what you say he's done.
You're making a big mistake.
Maybe. I can live with that. A murderer? Are you sure?
Positive.
Alright, so we're just going to back out of here. We're going to go back to our accomplice and watch her go to town. Ready for the phrase? Ready
Hi,
for the
ma'am.
line?
Hello, George. What can I do for you now?
Such a... Oh.
I found this pass in Merlin's room.
So, that deceitful little man is passing himself off as an electrician, is he?
Uh-huh. This guy probably has a million faces. I found this matchbook in Merlin's bedroom.
It came from the Club Alamut. It might be useful to find out if that club is in Paris, George.
Pretty sure there's something else I'm supposed to be doing here.
What now, monsieur?
Does this matchbook mean anything to you?
No, monsieur.
Did I show you this pass?
Oui, monsieur.
I'm pretty sure there's something else I'm supposed to do here.
There was no one registered under the name of Khan, but the name in the book for room 22 was Merlin. Hi, ma'am.
Hello, George. What can I do for you now?
I showed the pass to the clerk, hoping he'd give me Merlin's papers, but he wouldn't buy it. He's too scared.
I'll give him something to be scared of. Follow me, George.
Follow me, George.
Did
go
you
to
place
town.
a package from Merlin in the hotel safe?
I did, madame.
And did my friend here show you Merlin's identification?
Indeed he did, but
What's the problem?
he isn't Merlin.
A mere academic detail. Give him the package.
But that is against the law.
I happen to be a justice of the peace, you silly man. I am the law. If he tries anything, shoot him, George.
My pleasure, Lady Piermont.
One moment, please.
You know, I haven't enjoyed myself this much since Greenham Common.
I don't know what I would have done without you, Lady Piermont.
Voilà, monsieur. Le manuscrit de Monsieur Merlin.
Thanks.
How satisfying. An Anglo-American alliance that actually worked.
The clerk had given me a tightly rolled sheet of parchment. I decided not to unroll it until I was safely back in Nico's apartment.
Okay, so we got two choices here. We can go out the front door, and those gangsters are going to search us. And if we go out there and they search us and they find the manuscript, they will actually take it and shoot us and game over kind of deal. There is another way that we can get out of this hotel with the manuscript and not dying. And we'll go and do that. So we're going to go back into room 21. I'm going to go out the window. And no, we are not jumping. But we're actually going to take the manuscript.
I knew this was no
and throw
way
it
to
down.
treat an ancient manuscript. But I couldn't let it fall into the hands of the goons waiting outside.
So now we can go back inside. And then we'll leave the hotel. We'll get searched, but they won't find anything new because we've
Hold
already
it right there.
thrown it.
Search him again, lad.
Nothing, Guido.
Okay, let him go.
Alright. So now we can go down the back hallway, alleyway, pick up the manuscript.
If the manuscript was what Clapp and Guido were after, they were going to be disappointed. I couldn't wait to get back to Nico's apartment and check it out.
Thank you guys for watching this Broken Sword episode. If you've enjoyed the content, please consider leaving a like. And if you want to see some more Broken Sword story, consider subscribing to the channel and hitting that notification button when it does come on live. If you've got any feedback, it'd be greatly appreciated. Please leave it in the comments down below. If you'd like to see some more live content, please hit me up on one of these live pages when I go live. I have different content for different channels. And at the end of the day, YouTube, don't just be cool, be downright fearless.